Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely pumped to dive into this one with you today. We're going to be exploring a genuinely powerful story, one that perfectly captures that age-old battle between our deep-rooted character and the constant pull of instant gratification. We live in a world that is always pushing us toward the quick fix, right? The easy money, the shortest possible path to success. But what actually happens when that shortcut is sitting right in front of you, literally begging to be taken? We are going to explore that exact scenario by looking at a remarkable source text about a young boy's journey. So get ready, because the lessons we pull from his choices are going to fundamentally challenge how you view success and true wealth. Let's get into it.
Okay, I want you to pause for a second and really honestly think about this. You're walking home. Nobody is watching. The street is completely empty. You look down and boom, there it is. A bag literally stuffed with cash. What is your very first instinct? Do you immediately think about the bills you could pay off, maybe the things you've been waiting to afford? Honestly, it's just human nature to feel that immediate rush of relief and excitement. I want you to hold on to that honest internal reaction because it's exactly what makes the story we're about to unpack so incredibly compelling.
Section 1. Rahul's Humble Beginnings.
To really get why this story hits so hard, we have to understand where our main guy, Rahul, is coming from. Because, the environment we grow up in completely shapes our worldview. And Rahul's world was defined by absolute scarcity. On one side of the coin, you have his reality. He's a farmer's son and his family is facing severe financial struggles. They are literally just trying to get by, day to day. But on the flip side, you have his massive potential. Rahul is this incredibly bright kid with a huge dream to one day become a high-ranking officer. So he's got the mental capacity for greatness for sure, but absolutely zero financial resources to help him get there. Imagine that frustration, having a brilliant mind but feeling totally boxed in by poverty. That's the heavy reality Rahul is carrying on his shoulders every single day.
Section 2. The Ultimate Temptation.
So, every great story has that one defining moment of intense temptation, right? For Rahul, it happens on a totally ordinary walk home from school. He spots this abandoned bag on the side of the road. He opens it up, and inside is a massive amount of cash, along with some important documents. And the source text tells us that, for a split second, a thought flashes through his mind. He realizes this cash is the exact shortcut his family desperately needs. It could wipe away their struggles instantly, put food on the table, and hey, maybe even fund his education to become that officer he's always dreaming about. The temptation is practically radiating off this bag. For a kid who has nothing, being handed instant wealth like this, that is the ultimate psychological test.
But then, a switch just flips in his head. Despite the crushing financial desperation his family is facing, Rahul's internal moral compass just completely overrides the temptation. He simply tells himself, "These funds are not mine." Wow. It's just a factual statement, but it carries so much weight. He doesn't try to justify keeping it. He doesn't spin a story about how he needs it way more than the owner does. He just recognizes a boundary of integrity that he is absolutely unwilling to cross. And here's the thing about honesty. It's not just a passive thought. It takes actual physical work. Look at how this plays out. Rahul doesn't just leave the bag there for someone else to deal with. He digs through, finds an identity card, and proceeds to walk several kilometers on foot. Remember, he's just a kid, walking miles out of his way to do the right thing. He finally gets to the owner's house and hands over the bag, totally intact. He didn't just resist taking the cash. He put in the serious hustle required to make sure it got back to the right person.
Section 3. The Reward of Honesty. So, Rahul has passed the test, right? But the story definitely doesn't end with a quick thank you. He comes face to face with the bag's owner, who happens to be a very wealthy businessman. Naturally a bit cautious, the guy opens the bag and counts the cash. And guess what? Not a single rupee was missing. Rahul didn't skim a little off the top, he didn't take a secret finder's fee, he didn't even try to rationalize that taking a tiny fraction wouldn't hurt a rich guy. The whole shebang was there. And that level of pure, unfiltered honesty, it completely catches the businessman off guard.
Put yourself in that businessman's shoes for a second. He's looking at this poor farmer's boy who just hiked kilometers to return a literal fortune. So he asks the most logical, maybe even slightly cynical question you could ask. You could have kept some of this money, so why didn't you? He sees Rahul's situation. He knows that money would have been a game changer for the kid. He just really wants to know what powerful force stopped Rahul from taking the easy way out.
And Rahul, he just smiles and drops this incredibly profound answer. He says, "My parents taught me that hard-earned money is the true wealth." Think about that. His family might not have had a dime to their name, but the values they drilled into their son were infinitely richer than the physical cash in that bag. Even at his young age, she got it. He understood that unearned money comes with a hidden tax in your character, and that true, lasting value only comes from honest effort.
Let's break this down, because Rahul really had two distinct paths here. Path 1, keep the money. That means short-term financial relief, sure, but also compromised morals and this lingering heavy guilt of knowing he was a thief. Path 2, return it. He maintains a pristine character. And here is the massive, life-altering twist from the source text. The businessman was so deeply moved by this kid's flawless integrity that he decided, right then and there, to sponsor Rahul's entire education. Crazy, right?
Section 4. The Foundation of Success. Because he chose character over cash, Rahul unknowingly unlocked the exact resources he needed to achieve his lifelong dream. This timeline really maps out the actual mechanics of success. It never happens overnight. In his childhood, yeah, he struggled immensely, but that day, the day he chose to return that bag, was the ultimate pivot point. Earning that sponsored education meant he could finally unleash his brilliant mind without the crushing weight of poverty holding him down. And years later, applying that exact same honest work ethic to his studies, he did it. He achieved his dream and became the high-ranking officer he always wanted to be. It just goes to show that real wealth is built sequentially, over time, through consistency and unshakable good decisions.
Fast forward, and Rahul is this highly respected officer, right? And whenever people ask him his secret, like how did a poor farmer's son rise to such incredible heights? Was it just natural genius? His answer is always simple. The foundation of success is made not of talent, but of good character and honesty. Talent is great. Being smart is a wonderful tool, but without character, your foundation is basically built on sand. Rahul knew his entire life transformed not because he aced a test, but because he was honest enough to return a lost bag.
So what is the big takeaway we're drawing from this explainer today? It really boils down to this core truth. Honesty and good values open doors in life that money simply cannot open. Think about it. The money in that bag could have bought Rahul some food, maybe some new clothes, maybe a bit of short-term comfort. But it could never, ever have bought him the deep, lifelong mentorship and financial sponsorship of a powerful businessman. Only his integrity could purchase that.
Which brings us to a final thought I want you to chew on long after this explainer wraps up. In a world that is totally obsessed with shortcuts, life hacks, and instant results, is your character actually your most undervalued asset? We spend so much time and energy trying to build up our bank accounts and pad our resumes, but how much time are we really spending fortifying our integrity? Rahul's story is the ultimate proof that sometimes the hardest path is actually the only one that leads to everything you've ever wanted. Thank you so much for hanging out with me to explore this awesome story today. Keep building that strong foundation, and I'll see you in the next explainer.